I cannot recognize myself. How did I get here? And what happened to my vast green forests? To my beautiful river? It started a long time ago with the arrival of the humans in the valley. They invaded my lands and decided to settle along the Meuse. They took advantage of the fruitfulness of my valley, of its fertile ground. Towers arose, churches they call it, where they honor their sacred god. More and more people came to the city. And thus they needed more of my land, claiming it without considering me. They benefit from my soil, producing vegetables to feed their growing settlement, and hop and grapes for the beer and the wine. The humans reach the hills and explore the resourcefulness of the coal. They settle around the coal mines and start to cultivate the land. Naturally, this story repeats itself. As the humans grew in numbers, expanded their city, they cultivated more and more of the valley. Fields were turned into neighborhoods. And being as invasive as they are, they crowded my valley, leaving no space for trees, fields, and other living things. Up the hills they went, marking their territory even more. And as the city grew older and bigger, these oh-so inventive humans flaunted their garden planning alongside their new technologies for mining and producing. But of course, they forgot about me. Busy as they are with inventing and manufacturing, their waste scattered on my hills and valley, they underestimate me. Maybe they act fast and invasive, but my plants grow slowly but steadily, a force not to be underestimated. I will reclaim my hills and my valleys. What you see today is just a start. I will regenerate. Remember how these pesky humans cultivated my valley and my hills with their agricultural endeavors? You would think it couldn't get any worse. Well, let me tell you how they exploited my soil. Almost as soon as I settled in the valley, they started digging in the hills, finding precious ores and the energy stored in the coal. Naturally, 1 or 2 mines were not enough. Over time, they started digging in more and more spots, leaving heaps of soil scattered around. Why stop at my precious soil? To transport what they took from me, they dared to change my river that flows through the valley. And as they continued producing, they dumped more and more of my precious soil onto growing heaps. For them it meant nothing but mere waste. Continuing their industrious endeavors, companies became wealthy, investing in the construction of a polluting network of trains on my land, connecting man and machine. Taking and changing without consideration of me. It surely brings bad consequences to you, human. Those heaps you keep throwing your waste on, they will cover your houses. And my river you try to limit and control, it will flood your entire city. The factories covered my surface in a thick white blanket. I cannot see the sky. I can only stare at the stretching coal transporter giants. And not even the polluted air stopped the humans from producing and exploiting more. Only when the industries had to leave for other different places on my surface did the pollution stop. At once your precious industries didn't matter anymore. Your factories went silent and left the workers in despair. As I told you before, those ugly marks of your industry that were left on my lands, those heaps and those industrial buildings, I will take them back and reclaim my grounds. As if the agricultural and industrial endeavors did not change my landscape enough. As the city grew, the humans decided to change me to better fulfill their needs. And look at what we're left with now. A fragmented landscape, a city left in despair. It started with my beautiful river, attracting the settlers to my valley. Its vastness and offsprings allowed many people to settle next to its streams. Soon, the river became a burden. Desires arose among the people, wanting to alter my river, turning water into land. And they could not stop at small interventions. As the city grew, they wished for less space for the river and, of course, more space for themselves and for their infrastructure. My altered waters were not enough to transport their goods. Humans decided to cut through my surface with their iron railways and linked them to the suffocating industries. Even more, they didn't stop there. New tracks cut through my forests and hills to connect my valley to distant lands. Connecting the city to other parts of my service was not the end. Your larger city needed a network of its own. Polluting tramways were imposed on me. Troyes, my precious little wasteland, my virgin land untouched by the humans. I hoped for you to remain pure, but a modern man wants a modern city, with modern buildings. And thus, the modernist planned and constructed the most ambitious project in this land. And with a modern way of living comes the modern car, a filthy, polluting machine for which highways were cut through the hills. I knew that only something more harmful could make you remove those wasteful heaps of my surface. Digging started again, even though humans quit mining a while ago, but this time a desire for a modern way of transportation incited them to dig again. Somehow the shovels and machines were abandoned though, leaving me to rest. Troyes, my once so precious wasteland, the playground of modern ways of living, where they exploited you with massive structures. Somehow you didn't meet their expectations, so they destroyed those structures ruthlessly, harming you even more. Excited voices I've heard on my lands, about a bright future with new projects connecting the city, drawing in guests from elsewhere on my body. Looking back at what the humans have done to me, I can only remain skeptical of these promises. Humans altered me. My vast green forests are scattered in tiny isolated islands. My clear waters flow in narrow canals. My valley is covered with black ashes suffocating my soil, and the hills bear the carved out paths to my hidden treasures. Structures and networks cover my lands, altering me to fit their needs. Nature is a force to be reckoned with. I might be slow, but only time will tell.